Hey guys, if you watched last week's video, you know that I am filming this one at the same time, so yes, I look exactly the same, whatever. Today's video is going to be about the murder of Rob Limon, or Limon, I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it, but this was requested by Heather H, so thank you, Heather, for the suggestion. Now, this is still an ongoing sort of thing. This is about a wife who had her husband killed. Now, the wife's trial has been completed, but I believe, from what I could figure out, the boyfriend, I guess you could call him, is still awaiting trial or is in the process of it. So there wasn't a ton of information, like police report and stuff, quite available yet. So the information that I got from this is mostly news articles, so I'm piecing it together as well as I can, so I apologize if I make any mistakes. I will link all of my sources below as usual. So this is the story of a murder of Rob Limon, who was murdered in his workshop in Tehachapi, California. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Tehachapi, California. I believe it's in Kern County, at least that's where the trial was held. This occurred on August 17th of 2014. So in 2017, the trial concluded, and on October 5th, I believe it was, Sabrina was found guilty of first-degree murder in the death of her husband, Rob Limon. The trial lasted for 3 weeks, and the jury only took 5 hours to find her guilty. She was also found guilty of solicitation of murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and accessory to murder. She was, however, found not guilty of attempted murder and of mingling harmful substances into food or drink, a charge that referred to a lunch pail serving of allegedly poisoned banana pudding, and I'll get into that a little more in a bit. Now, according to prosecutors, Limon conspired with her lover, a former Redlands firefighter, Jonathan Hearn, in the killing of her husband so that they could be together and eventually marry. Now, the jury deliberated and found it truthful that Limon told Hearn how to get to her husband's workplace, what hours he was working on the day of the killing. It was also found true that Limon used a burner phone to communicate with Hearn, and if you don't know what that is, it's like a prepaid phone or just a cheapo cell phone that you throw away. You only use it for, like, basically like drug dealers use it, stuff like that, and then you get rid of it. So she used a burner phone to communicate with Hearn in an effort to avoid detection by law enforcement. Now, Hearn agreed to testify at the trial of Limon in exchange for a prison term of 25 years and 4 months because he wanted to avoid a life sentence. Sabrina Limon testified that she and her husband decided to engage in sex acts with other couples 5 years after the birth of her first child. They partied a lot, and both of them became overly fixated on sex, according to Limon. When she met Hearn while working at Costco in 2012, she said that she was flattered by a younger man's attention. They eventually exchanged numbers, and a few months later they became romantically involved behind her husband's back. Now, Hearn and Limon, according to Sabrina Limon, began fantasizing about having this future together. But according to her, she still denied ever planning Robert Limon's death or coming to a decision to leave him. But Hearn testified that he and Limon had long plotted her husband's death and made a prior attempt on his life months before the killing, and this is where the banana pudding comes into play. According to Hearn, they agreed to poison Robert by placing arsenic trioxide in banana pudding and sending it with him to work. Hearn testified that he had ordered the poison online, mixed it into the pudding, and then gave it to Sabrina to give to her husband. Later that day, however, according to Hearn, Sabrina and he became concerned about getting caught. So she called her husband and told him to throw out the pudding because the bananas had gone bad. Now, I'm not sure how you wouldn't notice that when you were making them, unless it was like old banana pudding, I don't know. So he threw it out and the poisoning never occurred. In addition to Hearn's testimony, the prosecution presented dozens of text messages and wiretapped phone calls between Hearn and Limon for the jury. In them, the couple professes their love for each other and discusses details of the investigation, including what she should tell the lead investigator after her husband's death. So basically, you know, her story or her alibi. Now, there's a weird type of religious spin on this story. Supposedly, according to Hearn, Sabrina persuaded him that her husband needed to die so that they could marry and raise her children as godly parents. And apparently they would reference the story in the Bible of King David's lust for Bathsheba, who was the wife of one of his most devout soldiers. David and Bathsheba later had an affair resulting in pregnancy while the soldier was away. David then arranged for the soldier to be killed and married Bathsheba as a cover. Hearn and Limon would make repeated references to God's purpose for their life and pray together. Hearn testified that he found parallels between him and Limon's actions and the biblical story. In a wiretapped phone call in November of 2014, Hearn had told Sabrina that David made a lot of big mistakes and was someone who had committed adultery and went on to kill that guy. He also said that he went out of his way to cover up his sin. Hearn also acknowledged that, unlike David, he and Sabrina had failed to repent for their wrongdoings, but embraced the psalm written by David nonetheless. Hearn testified that, "I guess I found some comfort in the fact that there was forgiveness." So apparently what happened the day of the murder, since the poisoning of the banana pudding never fell through, as I stated, Sabrina told Hearn where to go, when her husband would be there, and Hearn showed up and shot Robert to death. Robert was later found in his workplace, dead, unfortunately. And when the couple were found and questioned about it, that's when Hearn basically gave Sabrina up, in agreement with the police that he would only get a 25-year sentence. Now, in February of 2018, Sabrina tried to get a new trial. Even though she had already been found guilty, she still said that she had nothing to do with her husband's murder. She did not know that Hearn was going to kill her husband, even though there was plenty of text messages and phone calls to prove that she was aware of this. Now, something that I came across which was really sad, one article stated that while they are both serving prison terms, it's the Limon children, Robbie and Leanne, that are the unintended victims. Supposedly both children wrote letters to the judge begging him to grant their mother probation instead of a prison term. Robbie wrote, "My mom is one of the best people I know. She's loving and loves God. She loves my dad and we do everything together. I need my mom in my life. I would do anything to get her home. Please help make that happen." Now, as moved as the judge was by the children's letters, he could not reduce the sentence, he said. In the meantime, Sabrina's sister, Julia Cordova, has been caring for the two kids since Limon was arrested in January of 2017. So this took a few years for them to even basically be found out. This was just sort of an unsolved murder for a few years, which makes sense as to why the kids think that their mother would be innocent, because they lived with her for 3 years. They probably saw her pretending to mourn, pretending to be sad about it, pretending to get through the death of her husband. Now, if you are interested in more information on this, in December of last year, this was actually a featured special on Dateline. So they did like a whole, I think it was like a whole hour of it, which is really interesting. So I highly recommend watching that. If I can find the link to it, I will list it below. And if any more information comes out, or if I'm ever able to, which I will be able to once all of this is concluded, get police report and more information on the actual murder, I'd be happy to delve into that a little more. Although from what I've read from Hearn and everything, it was pretty cut and dry. He showed up and killed him. So that's all for the story that I have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you again, Heather, for the suggestion. I apologize that I don't have more information on it, but again, this is technically still like, there's still a couple loose ends in it. So everything from my understanding, from what I had found, all the information isn't public yet. But if you guys like this video, please give me a thumbs up below. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And if you have any suggestions for videos that you'd like to see, true crime, paranormal, anything like that, even stupid shit, whatever. I like doing fun videos too. Please leave those suggestions below. I upload new videos every Wednesday, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.